Welcome to another Grace Moment. At this time, we have Jonathan Boyd, who's a missionary to Colombia. And at this moment, Jonathan, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm Jonathan Boyd, as Pastor Dan mentioned, and we live in Santa Marta, Colombia, on the coast, the Caribbean coast. And we've been working in church planning, also in theological education. And we have 4 kids. One of them is at Iowa State, or getting ready to start his second year there at Iowa State. And then the other 3 are here at home with us in Colombia.
With COVID, how has it changed your ministry? What restrictions are you guys working under?
Yeah, it's changed it completely. Colombia tends to be rated as one of the happiest and friendliest countries in the world. And so the government has really taken a very strict measures against it. And so, for example, we've been in quarantine. I've lost count. I think it's lockdown of like more than 60 days now. So I kind of lost count. And the way it's been working within the whole country, that's the case. And I'm able to go out once a week to buy groceries. And so it's a little bit difficult with that too, because you just have the one day based on your ID number, one day to go out and do whatever you need to do. They're talking about probably opening up a bit more next Monday. So we're praying that would be the case. But part of the problem is that the national government says something and then the local government can override that if they want. And so on a local level, the governor and the mayor here have been even stricter than the national government. So we're hoping that won't be the case this time because, yeah, it's changed our ministry totally. I mean, we haven't, like I said, haven't had any public meetings since then, really have done some visitation, visited some people, but even that, you go out with a permission slip, or kind of a permission that we wrote, that we've had to change every time they change the the number of the law. But even that, you're a little bit nervous about it because the police it's not always so easy with them, although I've been stopped a number of times and it's been fine. But as far as that, so we've been doing, our preaching has been via YouTube. We haven't wanted to do it live just because the lights here, the electrical company is not the best. And so, in fact, the power has been going out almost every day or every other day lately. That's kind of been a bother. And so we like to have it pre-recorded so that if anything were to happen, people can still watch the sermon. Mm-hmm. And then during the week, we've been doing, I mean, I'm not directly involved with this, but the young people are meeting online probably once a week. And then we've been doing some like men's and women's meetings online as well as Zoom, that kind of thing. And then we've also thankfully been able to help a lot of families out in need, because if you can imagine, most people here, a lot of people live day by day. And so our churches helped at least probably, I would say, I think the list had about 17 people on it, or I should say probably around 10 families, I think, maybe 7 single people that don't have any income, haven't been able to work or anything like that. And so between Alfredo and myself, the other pastor and myself, we've been able to go and just take them some money each week so that they can buy food. Because of the restrictions, we had originally thought about taking food, but if you can imagine, you only have one day a week to go out and buy food, and the stores close at 4 p.m. now. So yeah, we decided it'd be easier to just give each family money so that they can buy food on their day that they can go out. Huh. So yeah, it's been a big change, and in all honesty, you realize how much we need social interaction. You realize how that helps you in your spiritual life, and just maybe we took for granted sometimes being able to meet as a church. So I think we've grown a lot in that.
Mm-hmm. What have been some ways that maybe either you yourselves personally or maybe some of your church members have been able to reach out in creative ways? I know you mentioned, some of the food and such like that, but have there been ways that your church or you have been able to reach out?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in the fact that as a result of this, we've obviously done more stuff online.
Hmm.
So we have a guy who came from Bogota who's kind of like a ministry intern, and he has experience working with television and that. So he's done a really good job of getting our YouTube channel up and does a really nice job of video production and that. And as a result of that, we're able to invite new people. And I could think of probably, I don't know, I mean, just off the top of my head, about 10 people that are hearing the sermons every week that weren't before. In fact, my next door neighbor, with whom I'd had just very superficial conversations before, he's been listening to the sermons for the last 4 weeks, and he tells me, oh, I was listening to it, and that we haven't had a chance to really sit down and talk through it, but nonetheless, he's been able to watch the sermons, and so I'm praying for his salvation. And then something that we did here in our neighborhood, we live kind of in a closed neighborhood here, but it's big. It's very odd. It used to not be closed. And then they closed it off. And so it's kind of got more than 300 houses in it. And so we were able, with a couple neighbor ladies from different churches, they had the idea to go and pray for the whole neighborhood. And so we went on 3 separate Saturdays and just would go to like a corner or a house and say, hey, would you guys mind if we prayed for you? So we had like a speaker and we're playing some music, and then we're able to just ask the people on that block if they had prayer requests, and we're able to pray for the whole neighborhood. It probably took a total of about 5 or 6 hours to go and pray for each block in the whole neighborhood here. But I'm praying that would open up doors to share more with people, because I don't think, obviously in a neighborhood of this size, some people just see me and don't know that I am a Christian or a pastor or anything, just because we've only seen each other.
Yep.
But I've seen even just that contact, they were, as a general rule, very appreciative that we would pray for them. And so I think that might open up some doors to share with some of these people later. It's been very odd because, here you have to wear a mask all the time. And so that's kind of odd too. Like the first probably month or so, it was almost like people didn't want to talk to you. Like you go out and, usually people are so friendly, but it was like everyone's scared and you're wearing a mask. And so they don't want to talk really. But I'm seeing that, with time, that's starting to come down as well, thankfully.
Yes. Have you found that people with that are more open to talk about things that would be a little bit more serious?
I think so. Although, like I said, I haven't had that much contact just because it's been hard, in the sense that on a local level, you're not supposed to do any kind of social visiting or anything like that. I know my Colombian coworkers had more contact because I've been doing more of the preaching. He's been doing more of the visiting. Mm-hmm. And so he's had a chance, I know, to share the gospel more than I have with people just out and about. And so, yeah, I think so. I think people that maybe before were more closed are more open than they were.
Yes.
I think so. And that, I would say, from what I've seen, and again, just the response of going throughout the neighborhood and praying, I'm praying as a Christian, and praying that God would help us to see Jesus and all this and see what he did for us on the cross, etc. Yep. And people, the reception, like I said, was just amazing. In fact, on one of the blocks, I think pretty much everyone came out front of their house. Huh. And they clapped when we were done praying. So it was kind of like, I've never been applauded before with a prayer, but yeah, I think that's kind of an indication of what's going on in people's hearts too. They're kind of looking for something, and I've heard other pastors also talk about that here.
Yes, yes. In looking for some sort of personal connection, and then from there, being able to insert the gospel and the life-changing principles.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 Because my thought on that is, uh, like for the most part here, you see a lot of people that, for example, there's one church right behind here, behind our neighborhood, that is like a Pentecostal church. And so they, 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, they're screaming and casting out demons. And, you know, they have a big speaker in the street there. And in my experience, I haven't seen that does anything really. I mean, obviously I don't agree with the theology,
Mhm.
but just the idea of that impersonal kind of preach to everyone, without really thinking personally about where people are at. I haven't seen that's worked here
Mhm.
at all. And so, yeah, like you're saying, to me, it's a lot more, okay, as neighbors, we're showing love for our neighbors, and we're just, you know, there to talk to people and to
Yes.
help them see what God's doing.
Yes. So connected to that, what are ways maybe you might encourage those who are still in America? We have less restrictions. We're able to get out. You know, we're still under restrictions, but maybe those in America to be able to connect on a personal level, whether it's with neighbors, coworkers, whatever it is. What are ways you might encourage us to reach out?
Yeah, yeah. Wow, I think that part of it, I mean, a lot of it is just our fear that stops us. And I think we need to pray that God would use this, because sometimes we forget to pray that way. In all honesty, we I mean, I'll speak for myself that sometimes I'm just like, well, Lord, let this end. You know, I want to go back to what we're, you know, being able to do a lot of things that I was doing before. But I think it starts with prayer and just praying, okay, may God use this in people's lives, and then may he use me also to be a part of that.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times it's just, if we're not praying, of course, we're going to have fear, and we're not going to be able to do what God wants us to do. But if we're praying and looking for opportunities, I really think that at this time especially, he's going to give us opportunities.
Yes, yes, because people are asking questions and seeking. Um,
Right. Yep.
what are maybe specific areas of prayer that we could pray for your ministry, for you personally or your family, ways that we can be able to be in prayer for you guys?
Yeah. Thanks for that. Well, like I said, just we're praying here in Colombia. Currently, there are only only 24,000 cases about of coronavirus.
Okay.
Most of them, I should say, probably a third of them, I think, are in Bogota, the capital. Here on a local level, I think there are maybe 300 or 400 cases in our city of over 500,000. So, I mean, compared to the U.S., that's not a lot. But just pray that the government would have wisdom to know how to deal with this,
Mhm.
because the economic fallout from this, I think, is going to be huge. We're already seeing uh, just how many people are losing jobs, how many people are their business is gonna fold. And if the economy wasn't that good before, it's gonna be a lot worse now. So that's the thing that breaks my heart, is to just think about that people in our church might be losing their jobs, and you know, the same thing in the US. But here, I think you see it a lot more. There's not much of a safety net, and the government has promised food and whatnot, but a lot of times they, you know, just kind of a promise that doesn't really come to fruition.
Mhm.
So that would be one thing. Another thing is just wisdom to see where to go from here with, we had just done our first course with our Bible Institute. And then with this, I finished the first course online, but out of 21 students I had in the first course, only 11 were able to continue because of the other 10 didn't have the technology to continue with online stuff. So we need wisdom to know what to do with that, to know how to continue with that. And then on a personal level, I would just say to pray for our kids. Um, especially the ones that live with us here, the younger ones especially, because this has been hard for them, and also they're getting to an age where it's been a little bit harder. The young, or the second to oldest, or how do you say that? The second youngest is 11 years old, going to turn 12, and 9. So just pray for wisdom with our kids, to know how to help them in everything that they're going through as well.
Mhm. And definitely praying that your house stays intact if they're running around and trying to get some sort of energy expended.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. This last week they finally opened it up so that kids could go outside, but it's only 3 times a week from 5 in the evening to 5:30 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So yeah, I mean, there's certain things like I don't exactly understand why it has to be like that, but
Yes.
okay.
Wow. Wow. Well,
Yeah. So with my kids, I mean, the one good thing is with the 2 younger boys, I've been doing a workout with them on the other days. So on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I try to go out and play soccer with them for a half an hour. And then on the other days, we're doing a workout together with, like a YouTube video. And so that's been kind of fun.
yes. Yes. Well, thank you for the opportunity to kind of just get a real quick flyover of what God is doing and how you guys are able to serve during this time. And I'm going to end the recording real quick and then plan on being able to post it online. I'll send you the link as well. So thank you very
Okay,
much, Josh.
thanks so much, Pastor Dan.